Welcome to another episode of Until It's Done, Voted Podcast. I'm your host, Dana Lynn Kay. Whoa, you guys, we have an awesome episode for you today. We're coming off of this incredible brand trip. I actually, for the first time ever, flew in a handful of my content creators for Devotion. These women are so amazing. We connected on so many levels in the past, meeting in person. And I knew, we connected when we didn't even know each other practically. But then when we met in person, we were like, this is sparks. This is great. And now to have them here visiting Devotion is I don't even know. It's like the cherry on top of the whole thing. It's been amazing. So welcome to the podcast portion. I have Teresa Parent here, and I have Tanya Spanglo. And these two are just so unbelievable. So I can't wait to speak to them today. We're going on the first, this is going to be a part 1 and part 2. So we're going to focus on Teresa right now, even though Tanya, chime in whenever you want. So welcome to the show, first of all.
Hi, thank you for having me.
I'm so excited. We're so excited.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're so happy to be here.
And how's the brand trip been treating you?
Oh,
Next
goodness.
level amazing.
It's more than we could ever hope for. It's such a blessing to be here. You've been such a gracious host, and Kelly, we love every second of this trip has been nothing short of amazing.
I love that. I love hearing that. At first, I made them an itinerary. I sent it over, and I'm like, oh no, they're either going to look at it and be like, what? This girl's got us working to the bone? Or
No, honestly, it was the opposite. We called each other when you sent the itinerary, and we were like, yes, we thrive on that.
Yeah.
Organization, and you were like, cute dress for this, cute dress. And I was like, did you see? Literally, I love that. No, I loved it.
And we've been begging you to work more since we got here. We were like, let's do more. Let's connect with your customers, with the followers. Let's do that. That's where we thrive. We love it. We're here for the community, and this has been just a great event. It's been just amazing. We've been able to connect with you and see your whole team, how Devotion headquarters is run. And it all really is a reflection of you and your heart and your soul and your passion really for making a difference in the lives of others.
Well, and also the thing is we've used this product for years.
Yeah.
And so now for the first time, we've actually seen all of it. We've seen the headquarters, we've seen the shipping, the packing, everything, met the entire team, which everyone is so nice, so gracious, everything. We were packing boxes and slinging things, and I dropped something on the floor and it was picked up before I could even bend down and get it. It's just great to see your process of it. Even though we use it, we get to see your side of it. And so I love that.
Which is awesome, because I love it that people are going to get to hear that, because a lot of times they'll see content and they'll be like, oh, Devotion looks like so much fun or whatever, but nobody's really been here to see what we're really all about. We've never, it's not like Devotion's open to the public where people can come and hang out. And now you guys were able to do that and really now report back to be like, these people really, are good people. And, social media can be a lot of smoke and mirrors. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, the fact that we got to go into the warehouse and work alongside your team and pack orders, take orders, pack orders, and see the whole process was incredible. I love connecting to the brand, to the owner, to the creator, and then again, as it trickles down into your staff, and then that's a reflection of your product. There's a reason that Devotion is number one. There's a reason that why it's our go-to for everything, and it's a reflection of you. It really, truly is, and you can see that in every aspect of this entire trip.
Mm-hmm. Oh, thank you. That means a lot to me. I love hearing that. And you guys are obviously, so if you're just tuning in, I know I have a lot of listeners who might be new to meeting you guys. Lots of followers are going to listen because it's you guys. And some people are going to be like, oh, these ladies are awesome. I'm going to go follow them now. It's going to be a mix. And I think, to bring you guys up to speed, Tanya and Teresa each have fabulous platforms where, I consider you guys you're I know we don't like the word influencers, but you're influencing people to live a better life and to start new chapters, and because you've done it for yourself already. And it's been proven. You guys have made incredible transformations. You are, leaders in this bariatric community where you are these figures that people are looking up to at different areas, different times of their journey. So Teresa, tell me, first of all, you brag for a second about yourself, what you have accomplished, because it's truly amazing.
So I used to weigh well over 600 pounds for about 23 years of my life, and I have lost about 465 pounds. I've had 2 rounds of plastic surgery. I had an abdominoplasty with the fleur-de-lis, and I had 47 pounds of skin removed from my abdomen then. And then I had a full thigh lift with the monsplasty and had an additional 3 pounds of skin removed. So I have completely not only transformed my body, though, because that truly for me, the physical changes that you see are a reflection of the internal work that I've done, the healing with my mind, body, and soul. For me, it's really been a journey of healing from the inside out. And when people see me and they tell me you're shining, that to me means more than telling me you're beautiful or your body looks amazing or anything like that. It's telling me that they see the light in my eyes and the spark back, because for so long I didn't feel like I was living. I felt like I was an empty shell, just existing and not really living. So for me, living and shining, that is the success for me.
I love that. And no, guys, I get choked up. I used to show people your page and start to cry. And I'm getting emotional right now because I'll never forget standing in my aunt's office at Allen Flavors where we make devotion. And I said, this woman is using devotion. And I opened up your page because you had posted about it and you were so excited. And I showed my aunt your transformation and I got choked up because I was like, it wasn't your physical, but it was the fact that I'm like, this woman is living now like you weren't before, you know? I love that for you. And when I met you and like when I spoke to you, I'm like, oh my God, her heart, like she's so beautiful and positive and wonderful to talk to that like I was flattered that you loved my product. And I was like, oh my God, this is great because now like I get to be part of your life. Like I wanted in on that positivity and that transformation and like who you have become. And it's like, it changes people's lives. I mean, to even be part of that.
You know, sharing my journey came really out of a desperation for a need to not feel alone. Obesity, like I've told you, is a very isolating disease. I felt like I was the only person in the world that weighed over 600 pounds, that struggled with mobility. I couldn't sleep in a bed. I couldn't stand. I couldn't walk more than 10 feet at a time. I had 2 heart attacks, pre-diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, like you name it. I was literally at the age of 36 told, you are not going to live to see the age of 45. You are going to die. Yeah. And I had lost my mom and my brother, as you know, at a young age. And I didn't want to be like them. I didn't want to go out like that. And I really wanted to change my life, but not just the physical transformation. When, you know, so much of diet culture teaches you that it's just about the way that you look. Yep. And once I started to realize that the way that I looked was a reflection of how I felt, truly felt, that started to just open my eyes and really go like, you know what, if I heal from the inside out and I develop the skills to cope with my stress and to actively like release the things that I was carrying around, because that's my journey. I was carrying around grief and trauma and stress that I didn't know how to process. And if I could figure that out, then maybe I could share and help people. And when I started doing that, people were like, oh my goodness, I've gone through this too. I struggle to walk. I struggle to stand. How are you doing this? And it became, you know, me sharing my journey, but me also following other content creators and then getting inspiration and motivation. It was a reciprocal thing, you know, and putting into the community, you put in and you get back. And it's been such a blessing. And finding products like devotion, like when I speak on devotion specifically, coming from a place where I have had a negative and toxic relationship with food from early childhood. I've talked about this. My mom was anorexic, my father bulimic. And so all I've learned from a young age is negativity, guilt, shame, all the things surrounding food. And for me, my journey, I needed to get in the kitchen and learn how to create a healthy, positive relationship with food, because all I ever did was binge eat in secret, hide, order, you know, get food when I was driving home, throw it away, hide the trash. And I was tired of living that life. I felt very disconnected from food, even though that sounds crazy because that was all I hyper focused on. Getting into the kitchen And learning how to get organized was overwhelming at 600 pounds. Standing in the kitchen was overwhelming. But getting the right tools, getting things that showed me that I don't have to eliminate all of my favorite foods, that I could learn how to create healthier versions of them, that is honestly one of the most empowering things I've ever experienced in my journey, because it took away that mindset of I never get to do this again. I never get to have pizza again. I never get to have cake again. And it was so empowering for me because I found myself playing in the kitchen and engaging and having fun and getting excited to create recipes, to share with my friends on social media and my coworkers and things like that. And so devotion literally played a role in my healing journey, in my weight loss journey, because it's been a tool that I use to this day, almost every single day.
And do you find that you're still in that, like the journey never ends, right?
Oh, never. You go into different seasons, like Tanya and I always say. It's different seasons of your journey. And I'm in the place now where in the past year, I've gone through the most mental and emotional changes because I've had 2 skin removal surgeries. And just because the skin is removed does not mean you wake up from surgery and your body matches your mind. So I have gone through having to learn how to be okay in this body. I don't know what that's like. All I ever knew was existing in a mind and a body that was embarrassed, was ashamed, was hateful. I was very verbally and mentally abusive to myself 24/7. That's just being real. I would say things to myself that I would never say to another human being. So in the past year, I've had to learn how to give myself grace and set boundaries with people and show people how this version of Teresa wants to exist and move through the world. And that's been the biggest challenge of all, really.
I always wonder about that because it's like, you at one point, you were like a prisoner in your own body, right?
Yes. Oh, yes. I couldn't even move. So not only are you physically trapped, I mean, literally stuck. I slept in a recliner for 10 to 15 years because I couldn't even lay in a bed and I couldn't move. I would literally sit by a window by the beach in California where I lived, 4 blocks from the ocean, and I would watch people all day long running and walking and biking and going to restaurants and living their life. And I was sitting there bawling every day, hating my life, blaming myself. I hate myself. I'm disgusting. I'm this, I'm that, and removed myself from the world. And I was a prisoner in my own body. And so when you're physically a prisoner and mentally and emotionally, no wonder I was slowly trying to kill myself with food. I was absolutely miserable and I didn't know how to get out of it because my mindset was all focused on the diet culture. You're too fat. You need to eat less and move more. But that was what I was doing, but that wasn't the cause of it. So telling me to eat less and move more, that didn't solve my problem. I needed to work on my mental and emotional health, and that was never addressed.
So what was the breaking point that you finally, like you were in this cycle, you're in this cycle. What happens that broke the cycle or that happened that you finally started this journey to a new Teresa?
So I was sent to see a cardiologist, and this doctor practices, she's a cardiologist, but she practices alternative spiritual faith. And when she walked into the office and met me for the first time, she walked up to me and looked me right in the eyes. And she asked me, what happened in your life, Teresa, to break your heart and cause you to do this to yourself? Because you are slowly killing yourself. Oh. And I had never in my life had a medical doctor say anything like that to me. It was always, if I had a sprained ankle or if I had a sore throat, you're too fat. You need to eat less and move more, Teresa. You're too fat. So here was this doctor saying to me, what happened to you? And I was so floored that I broke down and I started telling her. My mom and my brother both committed suicide. My brother blamed me and it's all my fault. And she put both of her hands on my face and wiped my tears away. And I've never had a doctor treat me like a human being, right? Like ever, especially when you're obese. It's like they blame, and tell you what you're doing wrong. And this doctor was like, Teresa, you are a person who is very powerful at manifesting. She said, you have manifested a 600-pound barrier between you and the world. And for you, the world equals pain. That's all you've ever known, right? And I was bawling. And she said, listen, I'm going to leave you here today. Your prescription is I want you to leave my office and I want you to learn how to manifest. I want you to learn how to visualize. I want you to learn how to meditate. I want you to use affirmations. I want you to work on actively releasing the guilt, the shame, all the bad things that you're feeling and you're carrying around with you, because she said, you've turned all of that into weight. And she said, I feel very confident if you do these things that the weight will start to come off. You're going to feel more inspired to eat healthier and to move your body. I left her office and that was it.
That was powerful. Holy cow. That's powerful for me to even hear.
Yeah. I mean, what's so crazy is that it took 10 minutes with a doctor who I'd never met to change my life. And because of that doctor, I turned around and shared my story. And the one video that I shared that went crazy viral had over 30 million views. Yeah. So it touched people around the world. And it was because one doctor decided to treat an obese person like a human being and address the mental and health issues that I was struggling with that were causing. The obesity was the symptom of the greater underlying issue, which was my depression.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is huge to think that one appointment, that one doctor, your life, it's like that sliding doors. It could have gone this way or this way. And if you didn't show up at that appointment, or that morning you decided you just didn't want to go, or you chose a different doctor, your life could be in a totally different spot. So that was the moment.
Crazy thing. A few years later, I had lost all the weight. Okay. The world is watching. I have my skin removal surgery. I have 47 pounds of skin removed. About 3 weeks after my skin removal surgery, I developed a pulmonary embolism in my lung and almost died.
Oh my gosh.
I was rushed to the hospital on New Year's Eve. Pouring rain in California, which never happens. I was rerouted to 3 different hospitals, wound up at a hospital where the receptionist recognized me and got me in immediately. Someone was doing their rounds and I happened to share my story with them. And they said, well, we recognize you. And I told them the story of this amazing doctor who had saved my life. And they said, shut up. She works at this hospital 2 days a week and she does rounds.
No way.
I started bawling and they said, she's out of the country, but we're going to tell her that you're doing well. I hadn't seen her at all. She did not know about me at all. For all she knew, I could have passed away.
Right.
The next day, I'm in the bed in the hospital recovering. The curtain gets pulled back, and there she is walking into my room with all of her interns, and she's bawling, and I'm bawling. There's a video of it. It went crazy viral, and we got to connect, and for the first time, I got to tell her what she did to save my life. I never would have reconnected with her had I not been rerouted to 3 different hospitals. And so now her and we are working together because we want to be able to educate the medical community on the importance of treating people with obesity like human beings with compassion, because that moment changed my life and it's caused a ripple effect. It went out in the community that this amazing doctor changed my life. And, hopefully sharing that will help other people and inspire medical providers and doctors and things. Oh my gosh,
absolutely.
To maybe approach people with obesity a little bit differently than they have in the past.
And it gave you that you're here and you're sharing your story, and then you're on TikTok and you've got platforms and you were able to now save people that you don't even know you're saving.
Yeah.
It's
crazy. It's wild. But I believe everything happens for a reason. And I had all the odds stacked against me from early childhood. And I have always felt a sense of, like I needed to make a difference in the world. I really did. I used to tell my dad when I was little, I want to be something like Oprah. I want to help people my whole life. I've always wanted to be a caregiver to help people. And I didn't know how that would come about. And when I tell you that this all happened so organically, I never expected any of this. Just sharing my life.
Well, and the thing that you did though, that you didn't do that a lot of people do, is you didn't play the victim card. You were like, okay, this is the hand I was dealt. This is the family I was born into. This is how my parents were. These were the things, a lot of children turn out different ways because of what they're exposed to. Or they use it as an excuse to say, well, my dad was an alcoholic. I'm an alcoholic just in my genes. Or, we're all, we all have problems. So it is just how I am. But, we just discussed on the way here, it's like, are you going to accept that? Or are you going to break the chains and that cycle and say, no, that's not okay. That's not what I want from my life?
I tend to think of it like I use these things in life as tackling fuel. I love Adam Sandler, and he has the movie Waterboy, and he's like, use that for tackling fuel. So for me, anything negative that happens in my life, whether it's a negative comment, whether something bad happens, whatever it is, I'm like, I'm going to use this as tackling fuel, and I'm going to tackle whatever life throws at me, and I'm going to try to conquer it the best that I can.
You certainly have.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh. And your platform, I mean, tell people, like your purpose behind your platform. I mean, because now I think social media, sometimes I'm like, I hate social media. And then at the end of the day, I'm like, it's really a great thing, because it's really how it's used. I mean, it can be a weapon where people can get real nasty and they can, say nasty things. And we've had discussions about how here you are being vulnerable, sharing your story, realizing that somebody can just come to your page. Now, somebody like me, I found you, I come to your page, I'm like, whoa. And yeah, you could either immediately judge and say, ugh, she's just overweight and she must be lazy and she must be this and she must be that. Or you could say, like, let me take a minute to really find out who this woman is, why she got the way she did, what she's doing to change her life, and what she's doing positive. And unfortunately, a lot of people are real quick to just judge and just make a comment. And sometimes I realize, like, somebody will make a comment on my page and then I'll look and they're not even following me. So I'm like, wow, you're making a comment and you don't even know my story. You don't even know me. You don't know anything.
Or they have no picture and it's user 154099.
Exactly. And then you're like, who are you? Like, you're just a troll and you're bored. Yeah. But you didn't have to share your story, and you don't have to be as vulnerable. But do you feel that that's like part of your calling and that part of your job now of like?
I do, because I grew up feeling very isolated from the world. I grew up, like I said, in an abusive household. It was toxic. Not that it wasn't loving, but it was very toxic. And growing up weighing as much as I did, you feel very alone in the world. And I prayed for and meditated on and wanted a tribe desperately. I wanted people who understood me. I've never known, when I tell you, I've never known that other people struggled to walk or struggled with rashes or breathing or had to sleep in a recliner or couldn't go into the grocery store because they couldn't stand. Like, I never knew that was a thing. And to be able to find that community has been life-changing for me. I mean, that's where I learned to track my macros, to count my steps, to, get going on a Monday if I needed to do reset my thinking or whatever. All of those things come with community. And for me, I've honestly always tried to utilize my platform as a light. And like I've said, for me, when my brother killed himself, my light went out. You can literally see the pictures from a week before to after. And that light went out and I was an empty shell. And I feel like I was in the darkness for so long by myself. And so my purpose, honestly, is, and Tanya and I say this all the time, I want to shine my light as bright as I can, like a lighthouse in the dark, and just lift as many people in this community up with us to the top, as much as we can, to that place where you are at peace, where you're happy, and when you're waking up grateful, when you're going to bed smiling. When I lay down at nighttime and I close my eyes, the words that I speak to myself and the thoughts that go through my mind are happy and healthy now. And I want people to know what that feels like. So if I need to be vulnerable and put myself out there, which I've done, trust me, showing my stomach to the world, I deleted that video and put it back up a few times because I was terrified. No one had ever seen that. But there was some part of me that was like, you know what? Maybe somebody else out there will understand. And they did. There was millions of people who were mean and nasty, but there was 10 times more who were like related to that and were like, I needed to see that. And because you did that, I'm going to do this now. And that's what does it for both of us. It's the messages, the thousands of messages from the people in the Transformation Academy who are like, just the other day, a woman told us, I haven't been to the grocery store in 5 years. And we run weight loss support groups in our academy. And she literally told us, I went into the grocery store for the first time in 5 years. And everyone in the room is crying because we're like, we know what that feels like. I know how terrifying the grocery store can be for a person in a bigger body. And hearing just the stories like that, the couple that we have in there that are doing this together, they're saving their own lives together. It's those people that keep me motivated now. It honestly is.
So, questions that like I think people always wonder when they see somebody, when you get to like morbidly obese and you're 600 pounds, like you're not an independent person anymore, right? Because you're not. So who at the time, who was taking care of you? Like who was getting, because I always would wonder like, well, is there somebody that's enabling this person? Why aren't they helping this person? If this was my, family, I would be like, no, I'm gonna, it's always a question that goes through people's minds. So who was taking care of you? How are you making money? How are you taking, because now you're totally an independent person. You can do everything. So, I mean, you went from, tell us about that. It's a curious.
So I'll tackle this from a few different aspects. So my family, I lived in a family house that my family owned, and I had siblings who lived there with me. And they would, like, for example, my sister would tie my shoes for me because I couldn't do that. Family would go to the grocery store. They would help me up out of the chair because I couldn't get up on my own. They would help me do things like that. When I couldn't fit in the car, they would have to drive me places. So it became this.
Did someone have to help like bathe you and like all those, like, how did you do those things?
So I can't tell you how many toilets I cracked and broke. I had to sit in the shower. So I was able to shower myself, but the reality is that you can't really clean yourself properly at that weight. I had rashes, I had abscesses, I had all the things that you can imagine weighing that much. And I couldn't stand to fold a load of laundry. I couldn't bring groceries in. I tell you, when I had to sweep my house, I had to do it a room at a time and then sitting the entire time. I had a rolling chair. So my family would help take care of me. I had a partner at the time who very much enabled me, who fed me constantly. But my family did try to challenge that and did try to call me out, but I was so broken from the losses that I experienced that they didn't want to upset me. They didn't know how to handle it. And we had already lost 2 people to suicide. And when you have that happen in your family, they desperately wanted to help me, but they didn't have the tools and the skills to do it. And when they would try to, for example, my brother and I ordered a pizza one time and I had like 4 slices and he was like, I'm going to give the rest of this. I got mad. He tried to give it away. I got so mad. I was like, no, like I would get angry, and I was very negative. I was not a happy person. Like, I was on the surface and things like that, but like I was very negative and not happy at all. And I did work. I worked as a teacher, but I had to sit. So I would park my car in the closest stall and I would get there an hour before everyone so no one would see me. And I'd have to walk the couple hundred feet to my classroom, and my blood pressure, my ears would be ringing. My neck felt like it was going to explode from the breathing, my heart. I felt like I was going to drop dead all the time. The people at work would have to pick me up in the golf cart to take me just to go check my mail in the office or go to an assembly or do anything like that. Like, I had to have full support. And I was so nice to everybody at work and sweet. I would do nice things because I knew that I was a people pleaser.
Yeah.
I had to be nice to people too because I needed them. But people who tried to challenge that, I would cry. I would get upset. And then we don't want to upset Teresa, so they would back off. That was like my defense mechanism. I would get angry and upset and then tell them, cry. You don't understand how I feel. You don't understand. And nobody could understand because they weren't 600 pounds. They didn't know what it felt like to struggle in every single way in life.
Oh my gosh. What were the non-scale victories that shocked you the most? Like, that felt, or that were the most like, holy cow, like, like life-changing non-scale victories?
So I remember, there's so many, but being able to tie my shoes. And I still had the 47-pound apron at that time, so I still struggled, but being able to tie my shoes. But I remember the first time, because I started trying to jog. I was about 300 pounds, probably 275, 300. And I would jog near the marina by my house, and I would only be able to jog 20 feet at a time. And then when I got to a point where I was able to jog the whole marina, at the end of the marina, there was a whole group of bicyclists, and they were all standing there. And I jogged all the way to the end. And when I got to the end, I just started bawling. And they came over, are you okay? Are you okay? And I was like, you don't understand. And I told them, and they all were clapping and cheering. Every one of them would not walk away until they hugged me. And I was like, oh my goodness. Like, not only was that so powerful for me because I did that, but I felt accepted by a community of people who were quote unquote healthy. They were out there living. They were living. And that meant more to me. than anything. Being able to buckle my seatbelt, being able okay. So when I was big, I took up the front seat of the car from the driver's side door. I squished, covered the steering wheel. My brother had to like deactivate the horn because it would like get set off. My stomach touched the right side passenger door, so no one could drive with me. The seat had to be laid completely flat, and we had to get pillows to like put up. And so the first time I was able to get in the car and not use a seatbelt extender and not have my stomach knock the gear shift out of gear was like the best thing in the world. Wow. I was like, this is amazing. Just like, it's the little things that. The first time I put on jeans and a white t-shirt, I was probably 300 pounds, but I did not care. Yeah. I was like, I am wearing jeans and a t-shirt, and I danced all around my house. Best feeling in the world. Like being able to wash my dishes. I'll make videos now where I'm standing washing my dishes and I'm like, I love this. And people are like, come wash my dishes, honey. And I'm like, I am so blessed. We were in the warehouse working with all your staff, and I was like, I'm gonna get emotional. None of this would have been possible. I couldn't even stand to take a shower, and now I can go all day long. We go on these trips and we're working nonstop, and just like, it's so funny because at home sometimes I can't sit down, and my fiance is always like, baby, sit down. I'm like, baby, I sat for 25 years of my life. I'm done sitting, I'm living. And so if living means I'm going to put music on and dance all day and clean my house or go create recipes until I fall over, that's what I'm going to do, because I'm so tired of not living my life. So I look for opportunities to be on my feet and to be doing things. That to me is like the greatest non-scale victory. I'm no longer a prisoner in my body, and no longer a prisoner to the chair, that damn recliner that I sat in for so long.
I freaking love that. And you keep up with everyone. Yeah, I mean, it's not like, I mean, where you now have come to, it's like you even said, when we all lined up in a picture, you were saying like, I used to be, trying to make myself invisible or hide or whatever. I mean, you look at the picture now, it's like everybody just looks like beautiful average women. Like nobody's like shying away.
That's a shock to me though, because I look at the picture and I'm like, my brain always goes to, okay, you're going to be the biggest. You're going to look awkward. You're going to be hiding behind everybody. And I looked and I was like, hey, yeah. Like, you look cool. You look kind of good. Or when I pass by store windows and I will double, triple look every day. And I'm like, okay, that's me. Like it's shocking. I'm still, like I said, I'm still learning mentally and physically how to exist in this body. When you are over 600 pounds, when you're obese your whole life, but when you're over 600 pounds for 20 something years, every thought, every action, every way you move your body, people laugh because I'm a klutz. You've seen my klutziness.
Yes, you told me.
And my doctors have told me that's because my body is used to occupying a certain amount of space. Sure. And my equilibrium is off still because I am not used to being in this size body. So I do trip over myself. Yeah. I think I need more space to walk through things. Yeah. And it's just wild. It's wild.
And clothing, I mean, that opens up a whole new world.
I used to wear a size 8X. I could only order from one store online, and I had to wear the same style, like capris and t-shirt. No sense of fashion. I wore a XXX wide shoes, never did my hair, never did my makeup. I literally tried to be invisible, wearing dark colors all the time. And people stop me now and they're like, you look like a cartoon character, or you look like you're like from the 50s or something. And I'm like, from head to toe, I do my hair, I do my makeup, I play with my nails, my fashion, and I'm living the life I never in a million years. When I tell you the idea that anyone would even look at me and say, you look pretty, is so foreign to me. It's so foreign to me. That is not anything I've ever been told my entire life, ever.
And your page, it's like as soon as if I'm scrolling or if I pop it open, it's like, boop, there's Teresa. And it's like, but it's like a feel good now. Like you said, it's like it radiates from you, and you really are like on the outside, you're showing what you feel on the inside, which is bright and light. And
I do with intention, because I practice meditation, I visualize, I do things, but I intentionally try to shine my spirit as bright as I possibly can. Because for so long I didn't feel that. And I feel it's such a healing energy. People always tell me they feel very comfortable around me. They always open up around me. And it's because I have been through a lot, and I don't judge people for any walk of life, whatever your circumstances are. And when people come to my page, I want them to know, no matter what path you're on, how you're trying to get to a place of wellness or happiness, like I can relate to you in some way, shape, or form. And I hope that people see beyond the physical appearance, beyond that, because truly, when I tell you the soul shine is my greatest accomplishment, is my biggest success, that's what it is for me. And if that's reflected externally, like that's just like, the cherry on top for me.
Oh, it absolutely is. Your vibe is unbelievable. Anybody who does get the opportunity to meet you in person will feel it. I mean, seeing through social media is one thing, but meeting you in person, I mean, it was exactly what I expected. When I finally got to meet you and we hugged and we got to like talk and everything, I'm like, okay, you are what you put out. And I think that's why people are so attracted to your page and why women look up to you and
thank
love you.
You know, my tribe. Yes. And I talk both of these women sitting here, and this one to the left of me here, Miss Tanya Spanglow. I keep people in my tribe who want everyone to thrive. Like that's literally how I feel. I only want to sit at the table with other people who are all about elevating others. Like I am not about tearing anyone down. Yep. I'm here to support others, and you are a reflection of who you spend your time with. And
amen.
I legitimately want to always align myself with people whose morals and values are aligned, and who believe in putting other people first and helping others and lifting others up. And meeting Tanya, for example, was like, finally, I was like, I have a soul sister in this community, and we met, and it was within 30 minutes. We were like, I love you. And she's like, I love you. And we've literally been attached at the hip. Yeah. And it's like, I know no matter what I'm going through, just like today, we were going to go walk up 3 little steps, and she turned around and looked at me, and I knew what she was doing. She put her hand out for me, and I put my hand out for her, just to walk each other up the steps. And it's those kind of things where she can anticipate when I need water. She can anticipate how I'm feeling. Just a look on my face when we're in a meeting, this woman will look at me and she's like, oh, she's gone. She's hurt. She's something. She's feeling some kind of way. And you need to have people in your life like that who support you and who genuinely love you. And that I'm so blessed for, like, these friendships. The women that I've met in this community are everything to me. This is the family that I've chosen to create for myself. Yeah. And I could not do it without them. I couldn't do it without this lady right here. I love her to death.
I love you too. My goodness. You're right. Like, we've been attached at the hip ever since we met. It's crazy. We talk all the time, multiple times a day. And I can call her with anything. And we've only known each other
a year and a half.
Like a year.
And it seems like forever. It feels like you guys go back your whole lives. Like,
it feels that way.
We don't, though. But it feels that way. So that's how you know it's meant to be. Like, that's how you know it's soul sisters.
Yeah.
And it's going to be forever.
And we were brought together under the craziest circumstances. Yep. And we both, it really is a true testament to who you are as a person when you can be brought together under negative circumstances and look at each other and go, I see your soul. I see your heart, and your soul speak volumes above what anybody else around you is saying or doing. And so we just like latched onto each other, and we were like, we got this.
And do you think it's because, like, when something is right and it feels right, I feel that it should feel easy, and it should feel like you get me, I get you. I don't feel like I need to be on guard. I feel like I can be transparent with you. Like, I told you ladies, that's how I felt about you. Mm-hmm. Like, something was on my mind, and I'm like, let's talk about it. Like, I'm just curious, and you can openly and ask me questions. And like, when you feel that at ease with people, and you don't feel like there's an alternative motive, or this is weird, or I'm getting these weird vibes, it's like you can just like this is cool. Like,
you
this
take
is
your
right.
walls down. So with this person, with you as well, like the walls are down, and you get the truest, most authentic version of Teresa. You get the me that is like, okay, I trust you with my heart and soul. You've got this. Like you're gonna get me, and I'm gonna get you. And so you will get me at my realist, what the good, the bad, all the in between. But I know that I'm not going to be judged. I'm not going to be cast aside, because just like I said to her, to both of you girls, I will never assume the worst of you. I will always assume the best of you. And that's the kind of people I keep in my life. If I am going to assume the worst of you, you're not going to be in my life, because I'm feeling that for a reason. So it's definitely a vibe thing.
It's a vibe thing, because
vibe.
There are times that, especially me being like a businesswoman, I'll go into something where I'm like walking real carefully, because I did go into things always so positive, thinking everybody had positive intentions and everybody was doing good and everybody, but unfortunately it's not the case.
That's right.
Yeah. We've learned
so
that.
right.
We've been learning that.
With us having the platform, not that, and we don't take that for granted, and we don't ever throw that up. We never bring that up. We just think we're on a level playing field with everyone. Like
Which
we're
we
not
are,
up here and people are like, we're the same as you. We didn't ask for this. It just happened.
Right.
Like it happened naturally. But there are people that we've come in contact with, and for a second you think they have your best interest, and it turns out they don't. Right. And, you know, I'm not to say anything nasty about anyone, but you just have to kind of have your guard up. So this entire trip, we've been here, this is what our third day. Yes. I've not had my guard up a single time. Right. So it's just a natural flow, like what she just said. You are getting the best of us. You might get the worst of me when I get tired and I get hangry. Like you're going to get the worst of me, you know? But it's comfortable. It's a level of comfort, and it is a vibe. Like this is a vibe to me.
Absolutely.
I love both of you, and I feel completely comfortable with both of you. And that's rare. It's rare. And it's also, we have a friendship, not just a business, but a friendship. But that's also rare. To have that friendship with someone you're in business, like it is rare.
You hope for it, but you don't always get it.
Right.
And when you exist in a community, so for example, the community of people who are overweight, let's call it the weight loss community, a lot of people are coming from a place of feeling broken, right? A lot of people have unhealed trauma, wounds. They're actively going through transformation journeys, which we all are. But you do come across people who have bad intentions, or who are competitive, or who compare themselves to other people, or who do those things, who try to elevate themselves maybe emotionally or socially by suppressing others or stepping on others. And we're not about that. We both have a very good radar, and we will bring in people close to our inner circle. Not that that's a privilege by any means, but it's because we are protective of our families, protective of our space, of our heart and our soul. We've worked really hard to heal. And so we want other people who have that same vibration. I say, like, I want people who are vibrating on a similar frequency as us. And if you are a person who is negative, or you talk bad about others, or you have bad intentions, we're going to feel that. We're going to feel that. And then you're just going to go away. That's just. Or
if you always have drama around you. If for some reason you're always in the drama, like we're going to distance ourselves.
Because we have fought like hell to get here. And unfortunately, sometimes people like us along the way, because we've got big hearts.
Oh, yeah.
So a lot of times, like say when we talk about situations, it's like we're talking through it because we're like, look, I'm sensing something, and I'm going to talk about this because it's something that I'm going to have to now push out of my life, because the toxicity will keep trying to come in. You're never going to escape it, because it is the world we're living in. But when you have people that you trust, and then you talk through situations, and you're like, guys, am I seeing this correctly?
That's healthy.
That's healthy.
Well, and also that's a choice that we have.
Yeah.
And it's almost like when you're obese, you feel like you don't have a choice.
Yes.
And you feel like you don't have a choice. You feel like, well, these are the people that I have to be around. Well, these are the people that I have to, I don't have any other options.
You feel trapped.
Yes, you're just trapped, and you're isolated, and you're craving that human contact. And so you'll accept, and you will put up with,
and you'll ignore the red flags.
Anything.
Yes,
I can't tell you how many women, specifically in my comments every day, are like, you don't know how lucky you are to have such a husband like Bobby that has loved you from 430 pounds down to in the hundreds now. You're like, you don't know, because my husband does XYZ, you know, or my boyfriend has done this. And I'm just like, I can't imagine not having that support. But I know there are people out there, because I see it every day, and they're trapped. Like these women, every one of them, they're trapped. They feel trapped, and they don't know how to get out because they don't think they have options. And so we know, like, we didn't, it's not that we didn't have the option before. We just didn't act on it. And now we act on it. We act on our vibe. We act on it. Like we have the option. If we
we know how to say no.
Yeah. If we're getting a bad vibe, not to anything be rude. Of course we're not going to be rude. We'll say and do all the things, but we're not going to come back.
But you say this is not for me, and like I'm going to opt out of this.
Yeah,
right.
When you're bigger, I never stood up for myself.
Oh, no.
As soon as I started losing weight, my body started changing, my mind and the way that I interacted with other people started changing. I started to see people falling out of my life. Mm-hmm. People who were used to the ways in which 600-pound Teresa acted around them, the way I spoke to them, the way I allowed them to speak to me, what they expected of me, what I expected of them. The relationships around you evolve and change. And again, this goes back to the seasons. People are going to be in your life seasonally. Mm-hmm. And I'm hoping that there are several people who will be lifers, but it's seasons. It truly is, because
I'm in it for the long haul, baby.
Yeah. You're not going anywhere
for the long haul.
Well, and you value yourself now. You didn't have the self-confidence. Like that was like me. I was a yes girl. I got run over. I got bullied. I got people treating me like crap left and right. Girls were not nice to me. I mean, the whole thing. I mean, to this day, I deal with that, with where I'm not treated, I'm prejudged. I'm not treated nicely. But I don't put up with it anymore because I value myself. I value what I bring to the table. Now I know, who I am. And I'm like, you're not going to treat me like that. I didn't treat you like that. You're not going to treat me like that. You're not going to take my kindness for weakness. You're not going to take advantage of me or my business or my anything. Like here I am putting out good, and I'm not going to allow you to come into my world. And my mom always said, like, I'd rather have friends that I can count on one hand than a bunch of fake phony people that are just, using you or what, it's like
for sure
quality over quantity. For sure.
every time, but
every time.
Yeah. And we also get all the time, we'll get people that say, well, you've changed, you changed.
Damn
well,
right.
Changed. No, yes, we have changed. That was the point.
Yes.
Saying the same gets you nowhere.
Right.
Saying the same got me 430 pounds. So yes, I have changed. Thank God for change.
Thank God.
But what's happened is you're not used to this version. Before, you want gas money? Here you go. You want me to watch your kids? Here you go. You need me to go clean your house? Here you go. You need a ride? Here you go. Like
this version makes them uncomfortable.
I never said no, and they don't like that now. I'm like, well, I really have I've got these things, or I've got all of these other things that I'm doing. I can't just drop everything I'm doing for you. Right. Now, not to say that I don't help others still,
of course
I do, but they don't like it that I'm not at their beck and call. They were like, oh, I could always count on her.
Right.
She can give me money. She can give me, a ride here, go buy whatever, clean this, whatever. And I'm not doing that anymore because I'm putting me, and maybe I'm walking. I'm not going to stop walking to go do that because walking is a priority for me.
Yes.
I'm a priority. Like for the first time ever, I'm the priority. And I also hear women say in our comments, again, we always go back to this because the community is so important. And it's important for people not to feel alone. They will always say, well, I can't do that because I have this. I can't walk because I have this. We can't cook healthy because I'm not going to cook more than one meal. I'm not going to cook something separate for myself. I can't. It's always, I can't.
I can't, yep.
It's
I
that
can't.
mindset of focusing.
Yeah.
People focus. When you're obese, a lot of people do. You hyper-focus on your barriers. You hyper-focus on the obstacles. And so much of what we try to share on our platform is focusing on the possibilities. What are you capable of doing? Okay, you can't walk a block, but at 600 pounds, I struggled to walk 10 feet. So guess what I did? I stood up and I sat down. I stood up and I sat down. Yep. So it's really focusing on what you are capable of doing at the time and building on that. If you spend your life, which I did for a long time, focusing on all the ways in which I struggled and was hurting and didn't want to do things, that's all I got.
Yeah.
All I got was obstacles and negativity, right? And barriers.
Sure.
You have to change your mindset. And if you surround your people or yourself with people who are negative, who focus on all the negative and the obstacles and the barriers, that's where you find yourself. It's not, I didn't feel good like that. I was miserable, weren't you, at that?
Yes.
When you couldn't do things? Like,
Yeah.
I can't go up the bleachers, right? You say that all the time.
Yep.
And now she's like, okay, I'm going to find a way to do it. I'm going to find a way to make it happen. I want to cook healthy. I'm going to find a protein that I can use. If I want cake or pizza, I'm going to find a protein that's going to make me be able to do that. Like, you have to be able to seek out the change in your
We
life.
had bagels today. We had bagels today.
Yes.
The bagels
That were legit.
They're legit bagels.
Bagels. I was like, I just need some lox, and I am like.
Everybody in the room was like, this is a bagel.
Shocking. Like I cannot wait to edit and post your video. Like people are going to flip out.
No, like it's an actual bagel.
Yeah.
And it's like we're not missing out on anything
and
over
bagels,
here.
let me tell you, have been something that for me are a scary thing because
it's breads and carbs for me.
Yeah.
My triggers are carbs and sweets. And that's another thing. You have to identify that. You have to know. Like we're not sitting around eating salad and eating almonds. Like we're not doing that every day. We're not living on that.
Carrot
Greek food.
I mean, we're having all and I've eaten so many new things here too for the first time. Yeah. So there's so many foods I've not ever tried ever. And so I've done that for the past 2 days. And so that's amazing also.
That is.
Yeah, it's an experience. Like I'm about the experience now.
Yeah.
I want to experience all of these things at 46 because I've never experienced them before. So now like what she said about living.
Yes.
We're living. Like before we were just alive. But we were not living. And there's Nicki Minaj, I always go back to her. She has that song, everybody dies, but not everybody lives.
Yes.
And there's a guy that has that tattoo on his arm in our town. And every time I see that tattoo, I'm like, that's so true.
Yeah.
Like we were just alive for like the better part of our life, the bigger part. Yeah. We were just alive, but we were not living. And now we are.
And I didn't want to
go
out
like
that
just
way.
Surviving.
That's what I said before. I was like, I didn't want to go out. Like I said, my mom, my brother with the killing themselves. I was like, that's what I'm doing. I don't want to go out that way. I want to live. And so I had to choose. I had to fight for it. And that's what you really need to do. If you want something, you got to fight for it. You really do.
It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy for a single day. There's not going to be a single day that is going to be easy.
No.
But that's okay. Like what are you made of?
Yep.
What are you made of? Like dig deep. You got to dig deep when you really, oh my goodness. I've been on my hands and knees covered in sweat and tears before. Like that's how deep I've had to dig to live this life.
Yep.
And so it's just, what are you made of?
It's worth it every single day, right? Of this journey, every single moment of it. Like I would do it again in a heartbeat because the quality of my life, I am living now. I'm so alive. Like,
I would not go back to my old life and the way I was before at 430 pounds. I would not go back to that for anything in the world. Nothing could make me ever go back to that. Never.
No. And you couldn't. You'd come too far. There's no way. Well, this has been, we're going to do a part 2 because you ladies have so much wisdom to share. We're going to hear more from Tanya on your story. And Teresa, thank you for being so open and honest and just amazing. You're a beautiful person. I love, this is like my dream finally to have you guys here. I keep saying like, I got to have these two on the podcast. And I didn't want to do it through Zoom. I was like, we're going to do this brand trip and we're going to have you here in person. I want to sit with you and talk. And this is what we got to do. And like, I've just been waiting for this. So you made this podcast an incredible episode. I can't wait for it to drop, and I hope you guys all enjoyed. So thank you, ladies, for being here, and stay tuned because we're doing a part 2, and Tanya's coming up next. So thank you, thank you, and I'll see you guys on the next episode of Until It's Done, a devoted podcast.